All right. All right. Lights, camera, action, work. All right. What's up, everybody? I'm Gunu Corner. Welcome back to my channel where when you go low, we go lower around here. All right. So we're here to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16, episode 5. I don't know what the name of it is, child, but honestly, they can rename it. Whatever it is, when you go low, we take it to hell. We take it to the devil's basement around this bitch. We got a whole lot of things to talk about, and we ain't got a whole lot of time to do it. I got things to do, people to see, places to go. So let's get in and get out, all right? First of all, please like, share, subscribe. And to all the people who subscribed last time and watched that video, hey, hello, how you doing? Nice to meet y'all. We love to see you around here in these parks. Great. If you are new here, go ahead and drop a comment down below. Say you're a new subscriber. I love to see y'all. All right, now let's get down to business. So we got a few things to get to before we get to the actual meat and potatoes of the situation. Let's go ahead and start with Angela Oakley and her daughter Amari. What's going on around Angela's house? Because it seems to be that she got a lot of people around her who are using her and pulling her strings for whatever which way that she wants. Her mama was diagnosed bipolar. She self-diagnosed herself as cured. That's not how bipolarism works, baby. I don't even know if bipolarism is a thing. However, but that's just not how bipolar works. That is a chemical imbalance somewhere in your brain, and you do need therapy and medication to help, regulate that situation. So you self-diagnosing yourself as cured it's not a thing, babe. Okay. Now, her daughter was living with her mother in a house that Angela bought, and her daughter used her mama's car without her permission, and her mama was mad. It seems to be that there is a lot of entitlement going on around here with Amari. She used her grandmother's car without her grandmother's permission, and then she got mad because her grandmother didn't buy it. So the fuck what? Her daughter bought it for her, and it is hers. So therefore, you need to ask her before you use it. And if you are, she said that she's helped all of them. She's done this, she's done that. I don't know what you could be providing besides food stamps. However, baby, because I don't know what Amari does, but apparently she's wanting to open up a coffee shop. I'm assuming with mommy's money. You didn't purchase anything over there. You didn't buy the car, you didn't buy the house, you didn't do all these things. So it's like, yeah, you still have to ask before you use your grandmother's stuff. And it is up to her whether she wants you to use it or not. You don't then get to go to your mama and be like, you need to cut your mama off because she tried me. Excuse me? That lady pushed me out of her yana. I pushed you out of mine. Mind your business. Watch your mouth when it comes to my mama. And then we get to the whole wedding thing. Now, here's where I'm going to try to give Amari a little bit of grace. Am I too far up in this camera? I feel like I'm like, with y'all, but whatever. All right. Okay, and then my chair is squeaking. I need to screw this motherfucker, but child, sorry for cussing. Anyway, so then we get to the wedding, right? Amari went and eloped, and 4 months goes by. Her mom finds out through her grandmother, and then Amari gets upset with Angela for being upset that she found out 4 months after she got married. That is a very monumental thing that you did without letting your mother know. Now, granted, you're grown, you can do what you want to do, your love life is yours. However, you can't go around acting like your mother shouldn't be hurt by you hiding that from her, because that is a thing that mothers and fathers look forward to the day that their child gets married. They think about this shit when you are in the womb. Like, oh my God, my baby's gonna go to prom. She's gonna go to college. She's gonna get married. She's gonna have her own children. She's gonna have her own life. So these are things that parents look forward to. And the fact that you excluded her from that and then tried to emotionally manipulate her by crying and be like, this is just too much. This is too much. Amari, I just met you. So I'm not going to pass too much judgment, but baby, in the 3 or 4 minutes that you was on my television screen, you didn't do yourself any favors. You seemed spoiled, entitled, bratty, and manipulative as hell. And I think that you might want to get in somebody's seat. You need to call a lady. Is there anything else from that scene that I would like to talk about? No. Angela looks beautiful. Okay, moving on. Kenya, Porsha, and Kelly all meet up at Kenya's hair spa to review models. The models come on down. Everybody looks pretty, and I think that it is like an unfortunate full circle moment for Kenya, because I think her very first episode on this show was her reviewing models with Cynthia as a newbie housewife. Now she is reviewing models with Kelly as a newbie housewife, and this is her last episode. So it is a very sad full circle moment for Kenya that I'm sure she had no idea was going to be the end of her story. On this show, at least. I'm sure Kenya will go on to do bigger and better things. Love her down. Anyway, so they're reviewing models. Everybody looks great. The energy between Kelly and Porsha and Kenya is so great. Like, that could have been a dream team housewives situation. They all look great. Their banter is good together. Kelly isn't afraid to speak her mind and really step in and defend her friends and call Kenya out, or not even call Kenya out, but just give Kenya a different point of view. Kenya shut her ass down though, but she isn't afraid to at least speak her piece. They get into talking about the whole Brit Kenya debacle at the bank. And Kenya is, expressing how she feels like, hey, I'm gonna do a background check on this bitch because I don't really know her. Kelly is like, girl, calm down. It's really not that serious. And what I do not like that seems to be a theme that seems to be pervasive around this cast is that everybody is trying to discount Kenya's feelings. Even you got Andy on his podcast with these two co-hosts discounting Kenya's feelings. Like, she wasn't going to shoot her. Bitch, you don't know what the fuck that lady was going to do. We just met her 4 episodes ago. None of y'all know what that lady was going to do with this gun. Kenya just met her. In Kenya's mind, she has no idea who this lady is. This lady just came around. Kenya's been nothing but friendly to the girl, but all of a sudden she came up with all of this anger and animosity, and then started talking about pistols and whips and shit like she a dominatrix and some shit. Like, okay, my boss, we not doing all that, So in Kenya's mind, I'm sure she is like, I really don't know who this girl is, who y'all done hired on here, and I know she done watched me on this television show, and she probably got her guard up. So I don't know how serious she could be about these pistols and shit. So yeah, I'm gonna run a sweep on her ass. And I agree. Is there anything else in this scene that I care about? No. So now we go over to the scene with Brit and Porsha. Brit and Porsha head to lunch or dinner or whatever. First of all, Porsha in that dress. You know what? Porsha, you want fine asshole. Let me tell you something right now, lady. You're aging gracefully. Like, everything about her, just to the T. Like, that dress fits so good. Them motherfucking Georgia peach ass hips with a little enhancement from Dr. Miami. looks great. All right, so they sit down. Brit and Porsha getting to talk about all the things. What I really loved about that scene though was Porsha really making sure that she held Brit accountable and not letting her pussyfoot around the situation. Like, no, Kenya feels like you said, Pistol. She's not making that up. And Porsha also in her confessional really broke it down the way that all of us are seeing it. Brit had preconceived notions of Kenya, and she came in guard up, guns blazing, literally, and ready for war with Kenya because Porsha didn't say this part, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it for her. Because Brit is insecure because she felt like Kenya was gonna come after her for some odd reason. Lo and behold, is because she has all of these things in her past and she was already on guard for Kenya. You really got to, sometimes you manifest your own demise. Sometimes when you put that kind of energy out there, it actually comes true. And for Brit, it did. So I love that Porsha held Brit accountable. Brit is faking remorse. I don't think the girl felt remorseful at all, but she's like, oh shit, I gotta keep my job around here. And I can't get fired for, threatening the pistol with this girl. So she is faking remorse. And she is willing to apologize. What I will give her is that she is ready and willing to apologize to move on. And even with the scene, even in the very first scene with Brit, Shamia, and Angela, Brit is... If I'm honest, y'all, like, there's something about Brit I don't like. And I've been trying to hold out on saying it because I'm like, I really want to go in and give all of these girls a fair shot. But there's something about this, like, fake gangster-ass energy you done came in here with. Like, oh, I'm going to check that bitch. You ain't going to try me. This is real life. I got pistols and whips and chains and machetes and now we just as delicate and we are all feminine and, oh no, I would never want to harm her. I would never want to intimidate her. I would never want her to feel that. No. We do not go from 1 million to 2. We don't do that. You need to stand on that shit. You really felt the way that you felt about Kenya shading your ring. You really felt a way about Kenya not giving you hugs or being dismissive and being manipulative and being passive aggressive. You really felt all of these things. Stand on that shit. I'm gonna show you how you could have come in here, held your ground, and still shown remorse. Look, I took it too far last night. However, Kenya's been trying me since day one. So I'm gonna need an apology from her as well. Like, I understand I did too much. I shouldn't have brought up the gun thing. I do stay packed. I do keep that thing on me. However, it was too much. I didn't need to do all that. I will meet her where she's at with it because I realized that I did too much. However, that bitch was trying me. You still have to maintain that posture of, I felt this way for real. Because now it's just looking like you made all of this up for this big moment. And that is my least favorite kind of housewife, the ones that study the show and come on trying to be somebody that they are not. If you are that girl, be that girl. And if you are not, be who you are. That's it. Anyway, so now we get to Kenya's event. Okay, Team Twirl, we're about to have a little bit of a problem. We're about to have a little bit of a problem. Let me say this. What Kenya did in retaliation, I think is fair game. Shoot me. I don't care. I'm not somebody who feels like if I do you wrong and you do worse to me, I cannot dictate how far you go when you do worse to me. I can't do you away and dictate to you how much that hurt or bothered or made you feel uncomfortable. If I tell you I have a gun ready for you, I cannot then be mad at you for coming back and actually shooting me. I can't be mad at that. Like, bitch, I brought that on myself. I shouldn't even let that lady know I had no gun. If anything, I should have just went and got it and went, ga-la-la-la-la-la. You know, that's what I should have did. However, so Kenya really taking it to the devil's basement, I'm not mad at. For me, this event was so beautiful, so well thought out. The production was fantastic. She had these beautiful hair models coming and displaying all this fantastic hair. She had all of her friends there. She had Miss Lawrence pop up and speak life and positivity into her and remind her of who she was. Kenya looked beautiful. That hair, that is my favorite hair on Kenya. I love when she does the big crinkle curl with a little part on the side. My favorite hairstyle on women is a bone straight middle part bust down. That's my favorite hairstyle on women. However, Kenya can also do that. That's her go-to. But my favorite hairstyle on Kenya is that middle part with teased up big 80s prom hair. Just nasty, sickening. She had on her signature purple. Everybody came decked out, looked good. Porsha spoke nicely of her after the years and years of, back and forth that they've had. Cynthia showed up, cheekbones and high ponytail. Angela looked good in her green and her titties out. Kelly looked good with her baby blue and her bone straight hair. Everybody looked good and the event was such a success, and I wish she would have stopped there, because this was supposed to be about you. This wasn't about everybody else. This was not about a feud with Brit. But if I'm Kenya, what I'm thinking her mindset is, and also you have to really take into totality of everything that Kenya has been through on this show. Kenya has literally got drug across the stage. She has had her dirty laundry aired out. She has had Nene coming into her apartment talking about white refrigerator. She has really been embarrassed and humiliated on this show. And she has also done her fair share of embarrassing and humiliating on this show. So, she is nobody's saint. No innocence is afforded to her. However, she has been on the receiving end of a lot of attacks on this show. And then when you think about last season, when she opened up the hair spa and production decided to wipe that entire scene out. If I'm Kenya, I'm thinking the only way that production will air this scene is if I make it a Housewives moment. That is the only way that I'm thinking that she thought that this was okay. Now, if I'm following that logic, the first two posters should have been it. We could have saved the last one for the reunion, baby. That's like reunion tea. The first two posters should have been it. That should have been enough. The last poster, though. Here's where Kenya went wrong. First of all, that last poster, I believe. Now, revenge porn, I don't think that falls under the guidelines of revenge porn. However, I do know for a fact that it is illegal to show porn or any kind of explicit image to an audience, to a person, without their consent. That is illegal. And the fact that somebody, a producer, anybody on her team did not say, Kenya, this is not a great idea, because you could literally, bitch, you could be fined, you could probably go to jail, I don't know. There could be ramifications for this legally. And I wish somebody would have said something to her like, stop while you're ahead. And you see the entire cast just looking at her like, Kenya, what is happening? And when that lady pulled that last poster out, everybody like, I wish I was a fly in the room, bitch. But for me, it is unfortunate that we don't get to see Kenya and this lady work this out. I think that they both took it to hell and they both should have suffered consequences. However, if I'm production and I'm like, okay, we cannot lose both housewives, and this is where I said I think Team Twirl is going to have a problem with me. I do think that if they were like, okay, somebody has to go, I do think it is fair that Kenya was the one removed. Here's why. Brit is a new housewife, and we don't know anything about her or her story. So I think it would be very unfair to cut her time short based on their actions. However, okay, as I'm working this through in my mind now, and I kind of want to stick with that. Like, if I had to choose between the two, I'd be like, okay, we've seen a lot of Kenya's life over the last 13 years. So, like, I don't, we can put her on pause for a minute just to make sure the block is cooled down. And let's just see what Brit can do for the rest of the season. Because without Brit, it's not really even a reboot anymore. It's just Kenya and like two new housewives, However, I do think that to make sure that Kenya felt safe, Brit should have been put on pause right after the pistol comment. Because it feels like we keep discounting Kenya's feelings of feeling unsafe when we allow her to continue filming after threatening pistols and whips. But then I whip out a picture of her sucking dick on camera, and now I'm the one fired. So like this action, this physical violent action, no, it wasn't physical violence, but this threatening action is okay, but this is not. I think that's a terrible message to send. And also, we also have to think about Bravo has a very weird relationship with physical violence. Like, they say that we don't condone physical violence. However, there are a myriad of housewives who have all been physically violent to either a cast member or the crew, who have all been allowed to continue filming and asked back to come the next season. Lanithia Leakes, Monique Samuels, Porsha Williams, Danielle, Jennifer, Jen Shaw literally blacked, what is that lady's name? Jen Shaw literally blacked Heather's eyes, both of her eyes at one time. Almost cracked the tooth. Heather looked like some out of the ER when Jennifer was done with her. However, Jennifer was allowed to continue filming. She was allowed to finish out her season. She was allowed to do all these things, but Kenya displaying these pictures of this lady is where we draw the line. To me, is odd. It is. But with that being said, y'all, that's all I really got on this here episode today. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. If you are new here, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment down below. If at any point you're feeling it on your chest, let me know. All right, and I will see y'all next week. Toodles. Taking it to hell, baby.